Hey everybody, welcome back. We're doing a follow-up to our Is Doctor Strange Broken? We've got a roundtable. We got some of the Doctor Stranges that we're familiar with on the Omega Flight server talk about their experiences, what they're seeing as problems, some fixes. I think the biggest thing you can do is talk about how are you going to actually fix this. Let's not just complain about it. What would we do? Now, I do want to say, I have my cute little note here. Highlights is, I would say, speed up the animations, better cooldowns, with a better increase of the maximum cooldown there, and then maybe a little bit more stam recovery. And then also, why doesn't Doctor Strange's confusion work like MODOK, right? It should just like be a big giant bubble that hits everybody. So check this out. It's kind of a round table, like I mentioned. I'm just gonna let it play. It's a longer video, but if you're interested in some back and forth on this, check it out. I'm gonna clip some stuff because we had some internet issues on Twitch that I had to deal with. But yeah, go check it out. Let me know what you think. And of course, hammer down like buttons, notification bells, and subscribe if you like.
Bring me WolverThor!
You know, depending, you know what, maybe this turns into a conversation that I want to post a full video on. So I'm going to record this if you guys are cool with it. And then we'll see. I mean, obviously the VOD's always out there, but this might be something that's still worthwhile. Maybe I could edit into a YouTube video too. So we're generally going to talk about Doctor Strange. Put a video out, you know, earlier in the week. Is he broken? Been talking to all these. We got a bunch of Doctor Stranges in chat. You guys can see those above this hand here. You can see them all there. They will light up green like when they're talking. Shia is going to be going for a little bit over there, thanks to, you know, Yag, Cindy, Goofy, and everybody who got that hype train going. Love you all and your faces. And so, yeah, Doctor Strange busted. We've noticed, generally speaking, that something seemed to happen after they did that. I mean, it was the defense pierce thing, whatever happened there. I'm not really sure exactly how that shook out. But then Doctor Strange started acting a little bit weird. You guys all started noticing it. You know, this is just going to be sort of an open forum discussion, how we're talking about it. I probably will want at some point where I might ask you guys some specific questions. I will eventually get to some suggestions. I'll definitely challenge some of the things, saying, well, wait a minute, what if you do that? What about this or that, if I can think of it? And I hope that at some point I can take some of this and even push it with Netmarble and go, hey, look, Doctor Strange needs to be the next one to be worked on. What do you think? You know, look at some of this stuff, you know, and hopefully they already see it with their data. But anyway, so Doctor Strange is broken. I want to, who wants to go first? What have you, I mean, Yags, you were the first one to talk to me about it. Why don't you talk to me about some of the stuff that you've seen change just in your power and some of the stuff you've experienced in Omega War?
Well, at least it appears that they designed him as to be a tank or some sort of a tank for survivability, and that was the case before defense pierce, and then now he's basically turned into what Storm was before her buffs, and it's basically a glass cannon and dies pretty easily. A lot of his skill, or majority of his skills, either don't register or like he just freezes in the air like he's not doing anything, and that happens in PvP modes, PvE modes. And just his overall, like, they basically turned him from like a young spring chicken to like an old man. Yeah. He's slow. His casting times are horrible. I don't know what they did to him, and it's ever since they've done their tweaks to fix from the defense pierce to the PvP that was screwed up. So whatever they left open or algorithms or wrong calculations affected him deeply, and he's not the same that he was. I don't know what they exactly did. And when you just look at like his specializations, they make sense, but they don't make sense. And if you look at almost every character, they have something going for them where us is either HP or defense, where everyone else is getting like a defense pierce, crit damage, crit rate, and like the list just goes on. So it just seems like they seem that they're okay with what Strange is at, not to mention the very beginning when they got rid of his range for his ult, but then when they've made tweaks to other characters recently, their ranges seem to be what Strange's was back then.
Yeah.
And ult doesn't seem to catch anybody like it used to. So unless they've changed something in the mechanics for other players, or they've just inadvertently or purposely, either or, nerfed range pretty hard.
Okay, yeah, and that's some of you other guys have been experiencing sort of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, I was never a good PvP player, but it's like I definitely noticed where it was, you know, my power was going up, but I was getting one shot by anyone and everyone. It seemed like I would, you know, walk by anyone and it was like all of a sudden I'm dropping in Dark Zone or dropping in Omega War, where that wasn't the case when I was 200k less power, you know, a couple weeks before. So something definitely, there was a step change in some mechanic related, and it was around the same time as Yags was saying with that defensive pierce change that you know completely upset the apple cart. And you know, whatever they did to try and address that, it's almost like they didn't go back and re-examine defense. And it's like they, you know, Strange does have, you know, as one of his specializations, you know, this decreased damage received from nearby enemies, which maxes out at 20%, right, Yags? And
I think it was
18%, sorry. And it's like, it feels like it's doing nothing. It feels like it, you know, you're just, it's like you're flying around in taffeta and getting hit with a flamethrower. It's pretty bad.
Okay. Yeah, no, I remember seeing, I mean, outside of the some of those buffs, I want to stay on that. We've also had some things where you guys can't see some of the abilities actually take off and hit. But this idea of him being a tank, right? Like with some of the conversations we've been having recently is his gear bonuses, right? That they're just what are they, HP and defense for all of the sets?
Yeah, the main one is HP, and then Hydra is different for each character. So the 3 regionals are the same for each character, and then Hydra is the one that's different. So all 3 of his regionals, other than Hydra, is HP, and then Hydra is defense.
Okay.
And yeah.
I think there's like Sakar or Savage Shadowland that is like, there's a supervillain damage decrease stat there, but yeah. Pretty much it's nothing really impactful.
Yeah, he seems really designed similar to Captain America, which we all know is like the worst character in the game.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like he's kind of in the same boat as Captain America. He's got the shit in the stick. Everyone else's Savage Land is supervillain damage, you know, straight supervillain damage, because it's a DPS game. Every mode is a DPS game. So they're getting a bonus with their PvE set that gives them supervillain damage. Only Captain America and Doctor Strange is getting supervillain damage decrease. It's like, so we can take hits more. We're not really a true tank. See, Captain America has like skills that will boost his defense and stuff like that. Doctor Strange grabs the mob's attention, gives you a shield, the extra shield and stuff like that. Doctor Strange doesn't have any of that, so I'm not sure why they wanted to design him like that. It's kind of like he got stuck with a tank mode, but he's not really a tank, so it really handicaps him in both modes, in PvE and PvP.
So, Cindy, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, kind of from an outsider point of view, I used to ask Yags all the time to carry me in Omega Wars, and about 3.5, 4 weeks ago, right about when that defense pierce thing happened, where you know that it went crazy with the defense pierce, it got to the point where neither one of us could survive. And I mean, from an outsider's point of view, I noticed that he didn't have what he had before, because he used to help me all the time. I mean, I play a Storm, and everybody knows that until recently, Storms were
trash. Yeah, I mean,
you could not play Omega War with the Storm, and he would go in with me in an Omega War, and it would just be me and him that would go in, or we'd take in, 2 others, and he would pretty much help me make sure I secured at least 1, if not 2 wins a day.
Yeah.
And ever since that happened, I mean, since I got buffed, I'm having to carry him.
I was just say, what's the new joke? I was gonna ask if you wanted to tell the new
Yeah.
joke.
Well, I told you the other day, I was like, Wolver, hey, you want to go help me carry Yags?
yeah.
Hey, mine,
Yeah,
Yags is like a 1.5 million.
Yeah, I mean, let's just for anybody who's watching, let me see. So I'll pull that up just as long as, Yags doesn't mind too much here. This is all public information we can all see now, so going to the alliances.
Just go to the elite rankings and you can pull them up.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, so this is Yags right here. I mean, you know what I mean? So like, this is a gigantic Doctor Strange, right? I mean, that's pretty insane. That's you don't get much stronger than that. I mean, I know there's like a couple 2 million folks in the game total. Like, that's it, so Yags has got to be, I got to think you're at least top 10-ish, like maybe higher. I don't know. That would be really cool to see, by the way, on a side topic. So, and I remember.
Well, and until he quit spending because of them them nerfing Strange, he was, I think, one of the highest squad ranks in a Mega Flight.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, what, he's 250 now, right? Yeah.
4 weeks ago, I think he was he was the highest squad rank.
Yeah.
So,
I think he still is.
Yeah, I mean, he's 250.
I'm right behind him.
Are you okay? Yeah, you've caught up. Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing. Like, it's so, he had the Strange that he beefed up. And this is one of the things that I hope that Netmarble, I mean, I'm sure they realize it, but like, somebody invests in a character and then all of a sudden something changes with that character. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to spend on this. I'm like, I was on this process of building this character and now it's not good.
Yeah, I think
I know.
Sorry, go
Good. Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, I know that there's a few. So what I've noticed so far is that I feel like they've kind of created these characters, right, to have these specific roles in Future Rev, and I guess like there was a purpose for it, but it doesn't really seem very clear, right? Like Cap is tanky, and that's great, and he can pull some of the characters, and I guess the defense can help out in some gaming content, but then what happens when the end game is all about DPS and all about you being able to climb in Dimension Duel and being able to get kills in Omega War, right? It doesn't carry over. It's kind of the same thing that's happening with Doctor Strange right now, where like they build him off for kind of this mage support type of character, but when it comes to like things like DZ, you can't do enough damage. Invasion, you can't do enough damage. There's really no way for him to compete. And if they're gonna go with HP and the defense on his gear, then dude, he gotta be effing tanky AF if that's gonna be the case, right? Like if that's what you're gonna have as a stat on his gear piece, he gotta be buku crazy with his defense and with his HP, where okay, I can deal with him not doing that much damage if you're gonna tell me that, okay, well, over time I can melt down a character in Dimension Duel,
right?
But they can't me, right? They can't just come in and one shot me. Like I just have to figure out what's the right skills that I need to use where I can do enough damage and then cooldowns are terrible on them, right? So
his cooldowns are ridiculously bad.
It's horrible.
Well, that goes to the poor design, and I kind of was testing that earlier. So his specs are just bad. So he has that one spec that you absolutely need. It's like plus at top rank, it's plus 25% attack, and you can't give that up. But it comes with plus 15% cooldown. So that alone, without that, I was doing some testing this week. So I took it off. Without that, his cooldowns are fine. But then you're not hitting for anything because you just lost 25% attack.
Yeah.
And they gave no way to counter that throughout his spec tree. Now no way. They have one way. But it's another handicap. It's like a checkmate. So you have to use illusion magic skills. And his illusion magic skills are terrible. Like if you equip, and you have to equip 3 of them to increase the cooldown. So that's gonna handicap you if you're using 3 illusion magic skills that hit for no damage in PvP. You know, illusion magic. God. Somebody saying that, son?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. So illusion magic skills include things like confusion or summoning a clone. You know, these things don't do damage. You know, they're just distraction. And this is a pure DPS game. So, I mean, I'm not sure what they was thinking with that, but if they had something in Mystic Arts, which is his only class that's really skill class that's really usable, that can counter that spec, then you know his cooldown issue would be solved.
Yeah.
But as it is right now, you know they have two different ways that you can, you know, reduce his cooldowns with illusion magic, but that's an unusable class because the skills are so bad.
Yeah, and isn't like one of the specs too, where like it raises the cooldown cap, but it doesn't actually raise the cooldown.
Yeah.
Like, isn't there one of them that does that?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. It's kind of like Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man, his 3-set bonus is dodge. Makes sense because he has a spec that can increase his dodge rate past the limit.
Yeah.
Well, Doctor Strange has one too. We can increase our cooldown past the limit, but our 3-set bonus is HP. Now, if they gave us cooldown as a 3-set bonus, now we're able to spam our skills faster. You know, so we can imagine being able to hit our top rank skill more often. That would increase our DPS, right? If we wasn't waiting for 23 seconds for what was that gateway summons to come back off a cooldown when it's hitting for 2,000 attack. If we can keep doing that every 14, 15 seconds, maybe we can climb the charts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even then too, like the ability, the skills have to hit for the damage that they're saying that they're supposed to hit for too, right? Because that's I don't know if I've been looking at some of the, like I have a touch of Ashanti skill and I use that in PvP and also PvE, and when I do that attack, I feel like I'm getting more damage off of that ability. When my Hydra gear is boosting my Mystic Arts ability, and Gateway Launch is one of those skills, and it doesn't seem to hit for the same amount of damage when that's 2,000 damage when the other one is 500 damage. So like I feel like the certain skills aren't even hitting for the right amount of damage that they're saying that they're supposed to hit for. I don't know if I'm the only one experiencing that.
No, definitely. There seems to be no logic behind like the numbers they provide in the game for like looking at the ability, saying it's like on paper it's like Ring of Ragador, that lash should be like one of your strongest abilities, and it is a lot of the time, but it just seems like oddball that sometimes Book of Ashanti just spikes damage, and it could be just that it's your accuracy hits with it.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's this nexus of stats and gear that we've fallen on the outside, but then looking at other jobs that they've fallen on the inside. Like exactly when that defense pierce snafu happened, Dark Domain gear started coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you look at the people that truly benefited from that change. Well, Iron Man benefited hugely because defensive pierce was on all of their Dark Domain gear.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we got something, I forget what it was. It was like, I can't even remember what it was because I never even looked at the Dark Domain gear again. And we go in that, like, stuff like, even with Omega cards, it's like our options for exclusive stats, you know, our specific character exclusive stat is cooldown decrease, which, you know, compared to what other classes get, you know, because we don't have an ability to truly flex out that cooldown decrease the way that like Iron Man can flex out defense pierce or Spider-Man can flex out dodge. It's like they've said, oh, this is going to be your line, but we're not going to let you get there.
Right. So it's either cooldown decrease or PvP decrease. So if I put cooldown decrease on all my cards and exclusive gear, then I'm garbage in PvP because now I have no PvP decrease. So that's the only place you can get PvP decrease.
Yeah.
So it's you're absolutely right, and even further expanding that into what potential is like. These other characters have that in their potential. They'll have that in their 3-set piece. They'll have those things everywhere you can get them, but we don't have cooldown in any of those pieces. You can get defensive pairs in the 4. You can so we can't get cooldown decrease anywhere but in our exclusive card, and that's supposed to be, that's Doctor Strange thing, cooldown.
You get a 0.0001% chance of getting the card you need to make your character playable. I mean, that is kind of their business model, but that's beside the point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What are you trying to say, that you're not okay with the 9% cooldown decrease that you get from potential? I'm kidding.
Well, I mean,
the potential is also terrible too. That's another one.
Yeah, it just seems like it seems like they never had a QA department look at Strange's abilities as you take them towards the max end of the game.
Right.
There's just stuff as players, it's like glaringly apparent that this does not make sense. Sorry,
right.
Cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, keep going. Well, I was okay. So the one thing I have to say is that I just want to say I do agree with you guys a bit that this concept of, if he's gonna be a tank, make him a tank. Like make it so that he can live, he can stick around for a while, and that at some point that if you get enough abilities, they can do enough damage over time that you can survive. It's not you're getting one shot. So I do want to just say that I agree. You know what I mean? Like I think that's something that needs to be addressed. But sorry, Biz, what were you gonna say?
I don't even think he I'm at 69% PvP increase, 63% defensive pairs. I'm top 20, I think, right now at Dimension Duel. So my thing is, he doesn't even seem like a tank, but they gave him tank 3-set bonus. My thing is just make everything equal. Give him something he can actually use like the other characters, because he's not a tank. Like, get him out of the category of Captain America and put him in the category with the rest of the characters. There's things that he's also not. He's also not Storm. He's not Spider-Man or Star-Lord. Those are the 3 other people who have status effect accuracy in their potential. He doesn't have a lot of status effects in his skills. He has 7 total. I've been doing testing all week on them. 2 of them are Snare, which is exclusive to him. Snare only works if a person is guard broke. He doesn't have a kit that can guard break. So 2 out of his 7 status effects is useless. So either give us good status effects or get rid of it and give us something more useful. That's another dead space for Doctor Strange. The other characters that have status effect have north of 15 different skills that they can use. And every skill class has at least 4 or 5 skills that they can use on that. So, Storm, for example,
We lose Biz?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
I think we lost you, Biz. All right.
He's on the call, just went quiet.
It went quiet. I'm not sure what it was there. So, anyone want to pick up where he was going there? Were you following what we was saying? Were you guys agreeing?
Well, the one question I had for the group, and I don't know if anyone else having this issue, has anyone been able to land Confusion?
I haven't even tried, to be honest with you.
We used to be able to randomly in Omega War or something else. Now, no, not at all.
Okay, because that's what I figured as well too. Because the 2 skills I've been finding is when you try to land Confusion, I don't see anyone ever get confused or anything ever happening. And along with the cooldown decrease, I believe it is. I've been throwing it out there. We'll be doing our dark zones, and I don't think it's actually doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, did you try it in the PvP zone too, or was it just the PvE zone that we tried that in?
I tried it in both, but I didn't see anything. Even when I've tried it in other, In a Mega War, I didn't notice anything.
So I've noticed. Well, I like a dummy. I used to run cooldown decrease still in PvP, and I do notice a difference a little bit with not what's changing everything, the PvP increase or PvP decrease. I do notice a little bit on the Omega cards. I do notice a little bit of a change there. But in PvE, I'm still getting like it's still a cooldown decrease issue.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think I've ever gotten confusion to land in an Omega War, and I'm running 150% status effect accuracy.
Sorry, I got cut off there. I don't know what happened.
it's all good. It's all good.
All good.
You guys keep talking. I'm gonna make sure the wife's not streaming Netflix to see if that'll help. By the way, keep going.
So Busy, you were in the middle of making a point, and I apologize.
You were thinking about Storm last, yeah.
Oh, that's where it got cut off?
Yeah.
Yeah, so all three, so Spider-Man, I kind of like was asking everybody, ask our alliance mates, how you guys characters, and I counted it up. All of them have a lot of status effects in their kits. So Storm, Star-Lord, Spider-Man all have a lot of status effects, so they can apply a lot of different debuffs. Where Doctor Strange doesn't have that. He only have 7, and they're not really useful. Like Confusion, for example, which is one of his best. We're throwing it at people's feet and hoping that they walk into it. That's stupid. Like, you can easily walk around that or dodge, fly around that or whatever. So we don't really have good debuffs. So it's kind of like a useless stats and our potential that they can take that out and just give us something that's more useful, because they didn't build Doctor Strange kit like the other three characters that have status effects, that have useful status effects that no matter where you go, whether it's PvP or PvE, you can actually see it. Yeah, I don't know if y'all heard this before it got cut off, and then their status effects is spread out through all 3 classes. So whatever class they decide to choose, they're not, that status effect accuracy is being used. Where we're typically using Mystic Arts, and we only have 1 skill that is Mystic Arts that uses a debuff.
Yeah.
And that's the bleed effect, right?
Yeah, that's the bleed effect. And that one's stupid too, because you're summoning like little shards from the sky, and so you gotta bank on the person being dumb enough to just stand there and let it hit
there. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, if they dodge out of it, then it's like, all right, that's a useless skill too. So the deployment of his debuff is just like, all right, one you're laying on the floor, the other one is falling out of the sky. Then he has 2 snares, which is kind of like, if you're not guard broken, then it's useless. The snare is supposed to hold you in place.
I was going to ask you guys about that ability. Does that not hold somebody in place?
No, you have to be guard broken first.
No.
The only advantage it has is an insane range.
There's only like one ability that can guard break, but even then it doesn't. You're not doing enough guard damage previously before that to get someone to be guard broken when you're doing that ability. But yeah, you actually showed it on the screen, Vishanti Assault. That's like the highest guard break option that you have available to you, I think.
Is that the first one? The first skill?
Yeah, it's usually at the first skill. Well, it's usually my second skill of rotation, but yeah.
Oh, you mean the skill that never goes off properly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the long range one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, and then he's got like this other one that banishes you to a mirror dimension. I'm not even sure if that's supposed to be a debuff or not. It works on little small mobs. It doesn't even work on a super villain.
I like it in PvE. Like when I was farming, when I was farming for XP, like it was great. But apart from that, it's like, nah, what am I doing this for?
Like, not interested. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this one a little bit before, and they did change the wording on this. This is one of the things that I think Top's talking about a little bit in chat, where at first I was like, oh my gosh, they changed it. But really what it was just, they just changed the wording of it to make it less confusing. I think it said, like, it was a double negative before, and this one makes it not a double negative. So I was like, oh, we got you guys. Like, we found something you changed without telling us, but unfortunately it was just a word change. But yeah, I mean, hearing you guys talk a little bit, I mean, and I don't know these very well, I'll admit to you guys, but like jump into that snare thing, the concept of needing to snare someone whose guard broke is so dumb to me, because it's like, they're already not moving. So why would you snare somebody who's not moving already?
Right, exactly.
It's like, I got you finally, for real.
Yeah, it just, I mean, I'm gonna go find, anyway, I'm gonna pull that up as we continue to talk, but like, that's the thing I just don't get.
If you didn't have to guard break somebody and just snare somebody, I mean, that would be great. I mean, that would be like, all right, he has a status effect that's actually worth something. And you would see people use it, but I mean, Doctor Strange is so one-dimensional. Like, if you fight one Doctor Strange, you fought them all. Everyone's gonna use the same skills. There's gonna be no variety because all the skills are viable. He has like 5 skills that's in rotation.
He really only has one PvP skill. Like, it's really just one PvP skill. That's it. There's no, and I think you guys probably know which one I'm talking about, right? It's ring repulsion. That's really the only one that he couldn't get off quickly. Everything else, it's a long cast time.
What's the name of that one again, Goof?
Ring repulsion.
Ring repulsion.
It's Rings of Ragador.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's literally the only one. Everything else, dude, I go into a PvP matchup with Iron Man. He gets 2 abilities off, and I'm trying to get 1 off because the cast time is so long.
And you know what's funny about that one is actually I fought Flash a few times, and I was just joking with him that widows are so good. The top end widows are so good. They see his arm moving back because his cast time, even on that, is slow, and they'll throw a blind right in my face, and it's like, as soon as they throw that blind, then they can hit me again unless I dodge out of it. So I'm just wasting an attack. So I'll dodge out of it. Now it's on cooldown for 16 seconds, and that's my best attack. That's my best ability. That's my only way to kill somebody fast. But besides gateway summons, and gateway summons take so long to cast.
It takes like a second and a half to cast and 5 to finish.
Yeah, I love when a Strange does that to me as a widow. I'm like, snipe time. I'm like, oh, you're using that ability? Okay, I'm gonna snipe.
It's like he has to throw up 12 gang signs before he actually shoots out.
Oh, should know he's loco.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, and I mean, so we've been talking about a lot of the problems with him. You guys have kind of, mentioned some of the solutions. I mean, I want to hear, like, so tell me some more about what, like, some specifics you guys would want to see changed on this guy. Like, it can be, make this ability, blah, blah, blah. Or, it could be more of a macro level where, we were talking before, is he a tank? Is he not a tank? There's no benefit to being a tank in this game, and he's not a tank. I'm curious to hear you guys, about some of that, like, specific, like, this is what I changed, this ability needs to do this. If you know, I mean, if you don't know, no big deal, but I'm just curious if you've got like some of that.
5 things. Can I go?
Fire away.
So number 1 is his anime, what we're just joking about. This is like a non-starter. First things first, speed up his animations for his attacks. That's like a must. Like I'm at rank 20 in Dark Dimension Duel, and I would like to push higher, but I know these guys can see my attacks coming. There's no way I can get past them.
Yeah.
So I would like to be able to cast my attacks faster and be in and out of them. I would like for me not to have to hold the attack for so long. Shoot it off, get the next one out. That's number 1. Number 2 is do something with his spec tree so his cooldowns won't be so long. Like that spec what is it called? I'll give you the name. Will of the Destroyer. That's a must. I need to have that, but I need something to counter that. He has two specs that are tied to illusion magic. If they would just not tie it to illusion magic and just let it to be a generic one, that would reduce cooldowns, that would be great.
Okay.
So, and then number 3 is what I was talking about with his potential. Either give us good status effects or debuffs, or get rid of status effect and put something else in there. Give us another cooldown something. Or just give us another cooldown. And then the 4th one is our 3-step bonus. I would like our 3-step bonus to be cooldown. I would like us to be cooldown so that we could just spam it. If they speed up our animation and have our cooldowns really low, I mean, that would make us competitive.
Yeah.
Dr. Strange is really competitive. Those are the biggest ones.
Yeah.
If we can move faster through and spit out our skills faster and have our cooldowns reduced.
I'm literally writing that down because I think that is a great point before anyone else potentially answers anything. That if you look at, I mean, we've already talked about it some, but if you go to these gear sets, if instead, I'm just going to make Xander as an example. But if instead of like we're getting HP here, if that was like a cooldown decrease, and I would agree, I think Strange to me I actually not playing him, I thought he would have been a cooldown decrease, and just based on some of the other stuff I saw. Yeah, and I really like that suggestion. I think if you can reduce that cooldown and do some of those things, and he's like just tanky enough that maybe those damages, they don't need to be super high, but you're just getting stuff off so much and you can last long enough that you're like, all right, if I can, pull the right dodge or get an iframe in there, that I'm actually going to beat a Black Widow or something like that, even though Goofy beats me still, but whatever. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, but I think Yags maxed his cooldown decrease the other day. What was it?
50%. Is Yags there?
Not sure. Did we lose Yags?
It's 50% though. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember saying that, and that's what I'm saying. So, all right, if we get a whole bunch of cooldown decrease from different places, like the 3-set bonus, if they give us another stack instead of status effect accuracy, and we're able to easily max cooldown, like Spider-Mans are able to max dodge, and then we can use that spec to increase our cooldowns even further. I mean, that's a unique and usable advantage that Doctor Strange now has against other characters.
Yeah, you allow the max to be increased. I agree.
Is that better?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, because it's not like it's just going to open up to spamming skills, because Strange is still very dependent on stamina and stamina recovery. His abilities have the highest stamina cost, I think, of anything in the game. So you're going to have to do a double spec. I still think Strange, and I haven't exhaustively looked, is Strange the only one that's got a specialization that outright nerfs another ability as it buffs another?
I know Spider-Man, I believe, has one. I forget what it is, because I brought this up to some people in a couple chats, and somebody brought up Spider-Man. I'd have to look and see what it was, but there is apparently some, if anybody in chat or anybody knows, apparently Spider-Man has a very similar one. That there's a trade-off there.
Iron Man does too, but I think Iron Man also has something that counters it. So he has one that gives him something and then takes away something, but then he has another spec that gives it right back. So you use those two specs in tandem and you're not losing much.
Yeah, I like the idea. I mean, and off the top of my head, it'd be great if you got 10 out of 10, that you could get, an extra 20 to 25% off that cooldown decrease max. I don't know if that'd be too OP or not, but just off the top of my head, that's what I'd like to see. You build it up from, I'd say 5% up to 20 or 25%, and Strange would be, like you said, the only one who can do that. And that helps, get him where he's doing stuff more. And, if his abilities don't hit as much, well, you've got to be tankier to survive, and you've got to get into that cooldown decrease, and now all of a sudden you're causing problems for people. You know what I mean? I could see that work, and I think that makes a whole lot of sense.
But also, if the speed up of the animation doesn't happen, the cooldown's not going to matter.
True. Yeah.
That's why that was a non-starter. That one has like number 1 on the list. They gotta speed up the animations.
That, and they got to fix the buttons where it takes you like 5 times to hit it to actually get the damn thing you trigger. And you know that.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
Well, and they got to make it so that when you actually hit the buttons and you do stuff, he doesn't just stand there with his hand in the air.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool pose though when he does it, isn't it?
Your cooldown decrease is great, but if he doesn't do anything, you're waiting another 20 seconds or something for the next one to go off.
Yeah.
Hey, Goofy, I'd rather, if he's gonna do nothing, I'd rather him be touching himself, so at least he's enjoying himself.
Wow.
Seriously.
And then he really needs to cool down.
Yeah, he does.
I would say this too, like he has a build where there's like a build where you can use defense pierce, right? Where that's supposed to be a really viable stat right now in PvP, but the damage output doesn't carry. Like I feel like if he's gonna have a build where you can boost his defensive pierce like that, I feel like that damage also has to really be impactful, and I'm not seeing it. I don't know. Like I don't know if cooldown decrease solves the whole issue. I think animation's got to be a thing. We talked about that already. The stamina is gonna be a problem too, because you're right. Like if cooldown is decreased, you still need stamina, because a lot of his abilities are also stamina heavy too, right? So I think that they need to figure out exactly what there has to be different ways to boost both. I think stamina recovery and cooldown decrease has to be boosted. Somehow?
What I'm asking this of all you guys, what is the highest stamina recovery rate that any of you guys have? Are any of you at the max is 200%? I'm curious if any of you guys are even close to that.
I'm not. I'm at 147.
Well, that's still pretty damn good.
I'm at like 150.
Okay. Biz, Yags, where are you guys at? Or Oinks?
I'm at 160-ish.
Okay.
I was at 140 before I changed.
All right, so you guys are...
I changed.
Okay, so you guys are between 140 and 160. Okay. Go ahead, Oinks, what's
Yeah,
that?
well, 156.
So, before Global, I was going into a war situation over the whole Dark Zone build. So, I was doing okay. And then when Global happened, all of a sudden I wasn't doing moves, I wasn't getting kills, I was getting killed, and this was all happening slowly within those first 2 weeks, and then it just got worse as time went. I changed about 2 weeks ago now. I changed before Star-Lord got his update, and it was just, I got so frustrated with it because I was doing moves, and he was, like everyone's saying, he was just standing there doing nothing, and I would dodge out of the animation, do another move, and I wouldn't see the moves, and then they would hit sometimes, and it was blowing my mind. And I was going through, I wish Vegeta was here. I was trying to help him, and we were working together, and he was trying to run Confusion, and I tried to run Confusion during the war, and it goes to the ground and does nothing. If that move, like said, were to go up in the air and were to confuse people in the air, that would be a whole nother story. Like, give it the whole ceiling for Omega War or a war situation. Because Alliance Wars are coming, and Strange could be a viable support damage dealer surviving. But he doesn't do that right now in Omega War because his moves are pretty useless.
So, tell me this. So, if I'm understanding you right, and I don't know exactly, so Strange's Confusion, it's not a floor to ceiling effect?
No, you have to be down close to it to get to it.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like that should be like a sphere. That would make sense. Okay, keep going.
He should shoot it like MODOK.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a wave.
Blast.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that. So he just wasn't working. And then in PvP, I was switching between Star-Lord because I was trying to do free to play on him. And I played him. and then I was playing my Strange, and he was 150. So he was strong through this whole time. And I was slowly losing power as I was doing. I had Will Destroyer max. I have the Mystic Art skill at 8. I had cooldown skill. I have the skills all up there. I stopped specializing him because every time I felt like I put into him, I wasn't getting back. And it was really frustrating with me. And I don't know. I love Strange. I used to hang out with him, used to play some classical music, used to carry all the raids. But doing raids didn't even feel like I was carrying people anymore because he plateaus. He doesn't feel like what you put into him, you get back. And I don't know. I wish there was ways to change it.
That's interesting. So you talk about that concept of plateauing. I mean, yeah, because you got stronger. I mean, you never had issue, even when you were building up, you didn't have issues with 700, 800, 900k Stranges in a Mega War, right? I mean, it wasn't a plateau issue for you necessarily. It was sort of a something changed issue as far as that goes.
The best way to put it, like, I would go in the Mega server, for the Mega fight, I would go into chat and just ask or randoms or whoever wanted a Mega War victory, and sometimes I would just stand on one of the platforms and either step in or don't step in if they needed to.
Yeah.
And I was able to help carry people, but I can't even do that anymore. And it's like, don't get me wrong, like there's been a bit of a change possibly, or maybe just because they're completely lower, I don't know, but the tankiness I had basically evaporated. Him not doing proper damage. There's sometimes in the Mega War where everything will work and he's actually hitting what he's supposed to, and then the next war he's not. Then there's times where, and I'll have like I think 50 to 60% crit damage decrease, 50% like guard damage decrease. Like I was setting everything at one point, testing it for defense purposes to see how I would do, and like 50 to 60% of my health was getting chucked away, and I'm like, okay, maybe they're close to my power. And then I'd look after the war, they were like 900k, and I'm like, okay, so then is there any point in investing anything defensive wise, because that's what they're selling us for some of the regionals? So it's like, what the hell changed? And like before the whole defense pierce issue that happened, there was no issues. I was able to help people. I can't even do that. I feel like I'm on disability right now because I can't do as much as I want to, and I kind of actually stay away from PvP modes because there's really no point. I don't want to get frustrated at something, and I don't want to stop playing the game because I enjoy playing with the alliance I'm with and chatting with some of the people who will chat, but I know if I play more PvP, I probably will quit because it just seems like the devs don't either care, don't look, don't test your stuff before they release it. I don't know if they have a proper quality control or a Q&A department. Probably not. But it just seems to be every time they do a patch and they fix something, they screw it up more than they fix it. Because I don't know how many times we've seen in the patch notes that they fixed some of the skills that are giving issues, but they haven't fixed it. So I don't know if they're just saying they fixed it, or did it get free? Yeah. Its damage is just all over the place. It's like, there's times you'll hit for great damage, times you won't. Don't get me wrong. Your crits and all that come into play, and this and that. I get all that, but he's supposed to be like the master of illusion, but I don't see anything from it. It's like, I don't want to give up on this character, but Netmarble, you're not making it easy for us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's. I mean. Yeah, when you min-max, or I mean, it's not even min-maxing, it's you build up as much as you can, and it's like you've explored every option. It's like, it doesn't. What else are you supposed to do?
Yeah. You see that stat I gave you earlier? We have in our Omega Flight, we have the most. Doctor Strangers have the most people over 1 million, 68, and we have the least amount of people, percentage-wise, competing in the game modes. You know, they were not topping anything. I mean, Yags might be the only one out of all the Doctor Strange that can compete in every game mode in the Omega Flight. Like, I can't get past maybe 30 kills in Omega War. And, you know, you got Spider-Mans and Iron Mans posting, hey, look, I got 80, 90 kills.
Oh my gosh,
like,
yeah.
It's like... My skills won't even come back that fast enough. Even if I get into a Omega Fight where the entire enemy team is getting hit, one-shotted by me, it's like my skills aren't coming back fast enough for that.
Yeah.
I can't get that many kills. Even if I can one-shot the entire team, it's just no way I can get that high.
Yeah, and even then you can't even survive, right? I mean, you go in, you get hit by like a residue, and half your health is gone.
Oh yeah, that too, 100%.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, and Flash said something, and this is an interesting point. So Flash is in chat right now and said that he's talking about defense pen, and I don't know if he meant it this way necessarily, but he talked about Yag's tankiness dropping significantly once they did that, and that's why they made the change that, you know, somebody could be almost untouchable. Strange might have been like too strong at that level, and anyone who gets to that big point would be untouchable, and that would be interesting. I mean, Yags, that if they saw your player, your Doctor Strange, because you were the first one to get that strong, and just were like, oh my gosh, Doctor Strange can be too much of a tank. We need to do something here. That would, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there because Flash did, but.
But you know what, though? Like, even if, let's say, that was the case, don't get me wrong, I'm all for trying to make it balanced or as fair as possible across the board, and I completely understand it.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, anybody that's made any investment going through, aside from a new character coming in, what message are they sending to everyone else that's been building their character? And they say nothing.
Yeah.
This is the point. This is where it gets frustrating with Netmarble, because they've done a lot of things, I'm just going to say, under the table. They don't tell anyone anything. And then people that are, like, for example, Defense Pierce. Clearly it was broken. There was a mistake, mathematical error, whatever you want to call it. They didn't say anything. People started investing, whether they're cards or whatever roles they got, into Defense Pierce.
Yeah.
So now, what's the message that you're trying to send to your community? Because you're now saying the Defense Pierce is fine because you haven't acknowledged the fact that no, it's not supposed to be like that. And then they fixed it, but didn't really say much on it. So it's like, what are you trying to hide? And if you're not trying to hide anything, you need to be more transparent, because it's not like people are just saying, oh yeah, I'm just going to throw in investment of my time or, funds to do something, because then now you basically just changed it without telling one anything. And it's borderline getting questionable at that point. I won't go the route I'm thinking of, but yeah.
Fraud. What? Oh.
They weren't prepped for somebody to be that strong.
And then you nerf them so much. Okay, so you brought him back down to everybody else level defensively, but now he can't compete because
that's a problem.
That was his advantage. His advantage was his survivability. So now you took away his advantage and gave him none of that high damage that Iron Man or Captain Marvel has, or the dodgeability that Spider-Man has. So you took away his strength and gave him nothing in return. Yeah. So that's the problem.
You essentially double nerfed him, right? Because you nerfed him and then you buffed everybody else. So
he's been nerfed 2 times now.
You've like triple nerfed him.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And that doesn't feel good. I mean, I know I'd be pissed, if that was a character I was playing, and it'd suck. I mean, I wouldn't mind. This is the thing they've got to be careful with stuff like this. It's okay to bring a character to a certain level. Like, say, Iron Man, in my opinion, is the best character in the game at the moment. It seems to do well in every single mode. You know what I mean? He's just good everywhere.
You think?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think he's got the most iframes. When we hear all of our Iron Men complain in Alliance, I'm like, stop, guys, just stop. Come on.
Yeah, nobody feels bad for you. Like,
Yeah, it's like, dude, how much more do you want to dominate every single game mode? Like,
I
come
couldn't
on.
possibly spend all this money. It's like just this level of like, you're complaining. It's like, oh, first world problems.
yeah,
Yeah. So I think it would be, I don't know, strange. Goofy, you hit something to when you said it. Like, it's sort of like a double nerf because you bring him down, but you brought everyone else up.
Yeah.
You know, and I do think that some of the things you guys are bringing up with, you know, the animation speeding up, the cooldown play, I like that concept. And then I think that they don't need to change the gear too much if they play with that and, you know, a little the stam recovery, maybe make Confusion more like MODOK. You know, something there, you start there, you do these intermittent tweaks and hope to see something that's like, all right, let's see what happens with Strange here. Is it, because you don't want to shoot him up above everybody, right? The idea is to creep them up so you don't have to nerf anybody. That would be the goal in my mind. If I was making one of these, that's what I would do. Just bring people up a little bit. It's like, how much closer are they? Are they closer yet? Are they closer yet? Are they closer yet? You know, and then eventually be like, okay, they're good. Which could take time and is annoying, but you know, I think the ones we're talking about, I don't think it'd break the game, you know?
No, nothing game breaking. The idea is to like give him some natural stuff. Kind of like I watch everybody post their stats in our chat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of look and see that they're like maxing out this and maxing out that, and it's because they don't have to worry about certain things because they get them natural and their potential. They get it naturally in their 3-set bonus, where we don't get any of that. HP is not a maxed out stat. You can just continuously get HP. You get HP naturally off of your gear. We don't get anything that we don't have to worry about. We can't say, oh, don't worry about crit damage because it's in our 3-piece set and it's in our potential. So we can leave off 10-11% of that because we're getting them naturally. We don't get any of those stats. So the idea is just to make it even. So there's one stat that we don't have to worry about, you know, going full maxed out at because we get in a little bit of it organically.
Yeah. And I definitely don't love that you guys have status effect accuracy and your potential for 2 levels, especially the last 2 levels. Man.
It wouldn't be bad if our natural attacks, the attack that we want to use, have status effects, but they don't have status effects, so it's really useless.
How many of the abilities that Strange have
skill
them?
gauge recovery? We got ultimate skill gauge recovery and enhanced potential. Why?
Yeah.
And it doesn't come around that often. No.
And if I'm gonna do an ult, for Christ's sake, if I'm gonna give me an iframe when I'm doing my ult, because I get this freaking shot do while I'm trying to do it.
I'm curious. So how often does that happen? Because the flip side, someone told me it does it. Yeah, because someone was like, well, they pick up everyone around them, and then talking to you guys a little bit, it was like, but you can dodge out of it.
First of all, you can dodge out of that easily.
Yeah,
that's a lie.
Yeah.
And then you don't pick up everyone all the time.
Okay.
I've actually sent you videos in Omega War where it worked beautifully. Everybody got picked up, and I was shocked I'm shocked when it works like that, because more often than not, I'm running in so many Omega Wars I've lost because I was like, should I do it? All right, I'm gonna do it. Nope, it didn't work. I'll run to the person with the most points, hit it, and nothing will happen. He'll just run around me and then kill me. So let's say it works beautifully. I'll give you a scenario. It works beautifully. I pick up everybody, but somebody was out of range. He runs up and kills me. Those people that I picked up beautifully, they get let off the hook with no damage.
Okay.
They drop back down to the floor and take no damage. The only time he does damage is when he slams you down to the floor. So that's why he should have iframe. He should be invincible while he's doing it, because he doesn't do any damage to you until he drops you to the floor. That's at the end of the animation. Same thing with Captain Marvel and Captain America. When you hit their ults, they don't do anything right away. It's only until they actually complete the animation that they actually do damage. Every other character,
Isn't Cap and Captain Marvel, aren't they invincible when they do it?
They're invincible.
CM, you can't hit her. Yeah,
she's the only one. Is Captain America? He's also.
No, actually on his ult, all the damage done to him, he reflects back out. Right? Isn't that the way his ult works?
Okay.
Well, and he's got pretty good range for his ult as well.
Right. So, and then every other character you're doing damage immediately, so he should be invincible as well.
Okay.
You know, just like those two.
I mean, freaking CM can go invisible the entire fight. That's annoying.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That's sort of bonkers. Oh,
Well, that and then Spider-Man's ability to get a dodge back every time he does a skill.
Skill, yeah.
It's like so he can just continuously active dodge. It's painful.
yeah, it's sort of insane. You know what I mean? It's just like nuts. By the way, anybody, I think the stream went down for a second and came back up because I tried to jack with something. So sorry for anybody who's in, you know, I don't know if Cindy's still in here or not. She can come back. That was me messing around. But yeah, I mean, this is, I don't know, like, I mean, looking at his potential, you know, talk about iframes. I mean, what's the one you got one iframe, right? What's that ability? The one where you like fly through somebody. Astral projection.
Yep.
That's the only one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
I mean, and again, that's one
skill. Yeah, it's a solid
It's
skill.
really solid. With extra cooldown, you can actually be on par with one of those annoying Captain Marvels who can just dodge all the time.
Yeah,
that's like an extra dodge as well. So I mean, if the
And it's a stamina recovery.
Yeah.
The other skill that he has, the one that's the earlier one in the skill tree, instead of Soul Predator, the one before it is a debuff that never lands. So
yeah, I mean,
which one is
that's it's called Touch of Astral Walk.
yeah, that's supposed to be it's got an ability that's like a plus 20% damage taken to the target that you hit with it.
Yeah,
but the only time you would use that would be on like a Prime and Dark Zone or like right now Crow and Invasion, and it almost never lands.
Really?
Yeah.
Nope. I used to run it all the time, and I was like, "Oh, it landed," and no. It was nice when it landed, but
yeah,
no,
I mean,
because it does more damage when it lands. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's supposed to increase damage received by 25%.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid ability, and for 10 seconds. So it's and the cooldown for it is 11 seconds. So you could almost do this so you have this debuff on nonstop. I mean, honestly, just reading it, it sounds amazing. I would be like,
sounds nice on paper.
Yeah, but if it never lands it, that sort of sucks.
I can get it to land sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes. But it's really unreliable. That's another broken one, because when you use it, like the second one, he'll dive like far. That one he'll take like 2 baby steps forward and stop.
Yeah.
It's like that was your dive. That's it. It'll get you killed more often than not.
Because he has to like go up a little bit and then thrust into it. You can dodge that too. Like
Yeah, it's again. That's the theme of tonight. Is all of his skills are very telegraphed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's coming.
Yeah, he does
People's
do that
elbow.
sort of like, yeah. It's, I mean, he jumps up, like, it's almost like he's a diver where he comes up to the top, bends over, comes down, and then comes at you. You know, it's just like,
that's
just
a
come at
different
me.
move, Wolver. That's a different move. But
I want his abilities or skills to work like Gilgamesh, where he just comes out of freaking nowhere and stuns your ass. That's how I want his, at least 1 or 2 of them, damn it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, that I agree. That's, I mean, it's funny. And like, again, I don't know if mine just need to be better at Widow or whatever. There's certainly times my abilities don't work, and I think it has to do with her movement, you know, but I'm pretty happy with most of her abilities. She's, you know, especially like the double shot, she just shows that quick strike, you know, that's an amazing ability. Now, obviously her snipe is a long load. It's pretty easy to dodge. Some of her grenades are pretty easy to dodge because she does the flips, you know, even the, I think the double shot will sometimes she'll like spin around and do it. So there's a little animation to it, but you know, it's not long, you know, whereas some of these things I'm seeing with, you know, Strange here, it's, I mean, especially like in the Book of Vishanti, the Vishanti Assault, where,
yeah, dude.
I mean, it's like, he like brings the book out, looks at it, shoots all this green stuff around him first, and then decides to shoot it at you. You know, it's like, okay. you're definitely knowing what's going on there, right?
The one thing is that it will follow you, so you can get like maybe 3 of them to touch you, but I mean you're not getting the full attack off.
Yeah.
You're not getting the full attack damage.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. So
that skill, if you don't land every single hit on the same enemy, it's like hitting people with paper.
Yeah, it is.
Like if one hits somebody, it's just like nothing.
Yeah.
All of it hit them, and it's like, all right, damage.
I save it for when they're like 10% health left, and I'm like, okay, I just need like 1 or 2 of them to hit. That's it. That's all I need.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, I'm
saving it for.
yeah, you're good there at that point.
Look at it this way. That would be a similar move to like the Iron Man guided missiles, the 16 missile attack,
Yeah.
because of the number of projectiles it does. I have never seen the strongest Strange ever like take out a whole group of people the way I've seen Iron Man take out an entire like 5, 6 people that were standing near each other in a mega war with that missile attack.
Yeah, that's
skill
where
is so broken.
Yeah.
That skill is so broken.
Yeah.
It hits you before he even does it.
I know.
It-
Yeah, the
yeah.
damage is done before he does anything.
I think I really understood that Doctor Strange was trash when I seen, and this is not saying anything about him, but when I seen Cookie stream and seen how he played Omega War, and I've seen his stats, and I'm kind of on par with him in stats, stat-wise, and I'm just like, wow, you guys get to play Omega War entirely different. He's like, yeah, I don't ever aim for anybody. I just go in there and I kill who I kill.
Yep.
It's like, wow, I wish I had that ability.
Yeah.
But I have to be really strategic on how I use my skills because, they're not going to do that much damage, and then they're going to be on long cooldowns. So I have to be really, really gauge the battlefield before I start using it. And I mean, that's the disadvantage, it's insane how the Iron Man's just can fly in there and just kill everything on sight, just go right through the entire team.
Yeah,
Iron Man will just walk through the center of the field and kill everyone. It's like if Strange ever makes it to the center of a mega war
he's dead
and survives, that's a very rare occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And what has frustrated me, you're right. Like looking at other people's stats and then like looking at yours, like I thought my stats were trash, right? But when I talk about them, like they're not the best, but they're not terrible. Like they're not. Like PvP wise, PvP damage is 70%. My PvP decrease is 60. Not great, but it's definitely not horrible. Defensive Pierce is 65, right? Like I should be competitive in these game modes. Crit damage is 230. Crit rate is 65. Like I should be competitive.
No, those are pretty. What's your power goof?
With PvP bill is 1.1.
Okay. Wow, you're a lot bigger than I thought. Okay.
These are not terrible stats.
No, they're not. Yeah.
Not at all.
I cannot compete. When I go in and get one-shotted by CMs and Iron Mans on a regular basis, and I'm like, dude, what am I supposed to do? I can't survive.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that we hope, I don't know. We'll see. I'd love to hear from them in one of these next patch notes that, you know what, we recognize Strange needs some work. And we feel like we've got Storm in a decent place now. Yes, she needs a little bit, but I don't think she's bad. She's a little bit limited in PvP. But I feel like Strange needs to, be tinkered with a little bit more than any other tunes outside of Star-Lord and probably, Cap and Star-Lord. Lord help anybody playing those characters right now. There are some, Caps out there who I've actually lost to in, Dimension Duel, and I've seen do some decent stuff, but man, you do not get, we said this earlier, you do not get rewarded in this game for being a support, right? Like, right. You just don't.
Yeah.
Now
there's only one Cap where I like realistically lose to, and it's Wolfman. That's pretty much
Wolfman's on another level.
He's the only Cap.
Yeah, I don't even know how to explain what that dude does. Like, frankly,
lose the Valley.
I haven't seen Valley in a hot minute.
Nah, I think he quit. I was just joking.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is he even still playing anymore?
Can I tell you about a quick story about how slow Doctor Strange is?
Yeah, shoot.
So Invasion 1, right? You hit everything, it goes down in one shot.
Yeah.
Right? So Crow comes out, and he has like a little time before you can hit him. I'm soloing it because I'm trying to get a higher score. I press start, and there's just a cap in there. So I'm like, oh, I can outscore him. So Crow comes out, and whoever gets the last hit is going to get the highest score. So we're sitting there waiting for him to become hittable. I hit my fastest skill with Doctor Strange. Don't you know that Cap beat me to the last hit? And got the highest score than me.
That's hilarious.
He got that brawler touch, man. He's multi-hits.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I can't believe I got beat to the last hit by a Cap.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
I mean, he is a super soldier. I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's meant to be all of the things.
He should have said on your left, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what did we not cover that you guys want to hit? Like, is there anything that we didn't hit on this thing?
What about just general playability stuff, like invasion? Like this, they supposedly fixed that lagging out when you zone in,
oh my God.
which they have not fixed. I get it. Like if we do 4 fights in a night, 2 out of the 4 fights, I have to switch devices.
Yeah, that's been brutal lately. I mean, frankly, we could go on a hour probably discussion on general things like that. That one in particular, I do know that they know that they have an Android issue. I don't know. I haven't brought it up in a few days. But because I was like, oh, okay, they're going to fix it. And then obviously, what was it, yesterday, where I think in 4 runs, we had 4 straight things where between me and, was it you, Rav, or was it Azura? I forget.
I think it was Azura.
Okay, yeah, we just kept, it was either both of us or one of us got locked up. And I'm like, okay, this is absurd. But yeah, that's the sort of thing where I don't know. I don't develop games. I'm a construction guy, so I don't know how hard it is or how easy it is or whatever, but I'm kind of like, guys, can we just, like, some of these things should just work, right? I don't know. What else do you guys want to hit on that we maybe didn't cover? And if it's nothing, no big deal. I'm just curious. I want to make sure that we, hit everything that we need to.
I think we covered everything. We covered, from his skills to his potential to his spec tree.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not much else on Doctor Strange, but yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm just making a note here. So what I'm gonna do, because this, I don't know if it's my internet or if it's Twitch or the Discord or whatever. I've been recording this whole thing, so I'll end up putting this up on YouTube. So because the recording should be fine. Whereas it seemed like Twitch was a little wonky. So I recorded a lot of what we had here. And we'll, I'll put it up and then hopefully we can see what happens. And, I definitely I don't know. I'm going to poke around and pry, and I encourage everybody to keep, busy. I think you said you posted on their official forums some of the comments that you had or your suggestions. I definitely encourage everybody to keep doing that. We'll see if they listen or not, but maybe between some efforts there that they make him at least the next tune-up, which and look, I'm a widow, and clearly I'd prefer, not other characters to become stronger, but I try to be realistic, you know what I mean? So I'm all for Strange next up, basically. So I do want to thank you guys all for taking the time. I don't know if we talked about how long we'd be doing this for, but it's been about an hour and a half. So, thanks for coming on, chatting. I'd love to do this stuff again in the future with any of you. Yags and Cindy, you guys are too much. Goofy, I appreciate you as well for throwing those in there. But I want to give this Yags Cindy thing. You guys are going to, I'm going to carry you guys in some Omega Wars. How about that? All right. I'll make sure to do that. So yeah, I love all your faces. So thank you. So that's what we got. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know what your thoughts are below. Any strangers, if you think we missed something, definitely comment below. And like I said at the beginning, hammer down like buttons, click notification bells, subscribe, all the sorts of things. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.